We'll take a roll call and note that we have everyone except for Ms. Cherico and Mr. Lappick, who could not make it tonight. Yep, she's here. I'll also announce that prior to tonight's board meeting, there was an executive session to discuss potential litigation and personnel. And I do not have any forms, but before we move on, do we have any requests for public comment tonight? Okay.
Just a quick comment. We had some award presentations tonight with our local district, regional, and state course competitions, and because of the change in our meeting, we're going to be rescheduling them for a later time. So I just want to make that a note and have the board recognize that. Thank you.
Okay, next we have some board action meeting minutes for approval. I'd like to motion that we approve both 5.1 and 5.2. That would be the monthly board action meetings minutes for February 14th and February 28th. Second. So motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
I'll be abstaining because I was not here for the Valentine's Day meeting.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And one abstention? Okay, the minutes are approved. Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. I move that we accept the high school accounts, middle school accounts, and cafeteria accounts as presented. Everybody's got their mouth full. Is that you, Al? Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I move that we approve the payment of invoices in the amount of $4,131,342.09 for February 2017 as presented.
Motion and a second. Questions or comments?
Question, I think I'm under the right, we're doing granting of orders, correct? Okay. I noticed there was payment out of $5,000 in damage from one bus hitting the back of another. Does insurance not cover that? And my second question to that is, would the bus company not be liable?
There are vehicles, so the damage to our vehicles are our responsibility. Insurance is reimbursing, but we've had to pay CMD. The insurance company will reimburse us directly.
Thanks, Bill. Any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I move that we approve the treasurer's report for February 2017 as presented and file it for audit.
Motion and a second. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. Moving on to the report of the superintendent, I would like to turn the mic over to our student board reps for their update. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Like always, I want to highlight some of the events that are going on at our school. As we talked about in our last meeting, Mason and I both hosted a student representative luncheon, and we met with student representatives from both Pottstown and Springford. We got to see many different perspectives in regards to many different issues, especially since Pottstown is a little smaller than us compared to Springford, which is a much larger school. So we got to see how each representative really reaches out to their students and represents their students to the best of their ability. Along with this, we are also planning a collaborative effort to get more kids involved with local politics and also work on an anti-drugs campaign with the help of Ms. Grimm. And then we're also planning to attend, Mason and I are planning to attend a Pottstown School Board meeting to really get to shadow them and see how they present out their community events and also many other findings in their school. On top of this, the student government is also doing a school swap. They have Pottstown, Phoenixville, and Pottsgrove pick 3 days where members of student government from each school will visit each other, shadow that school's student government members for a whole day, and they will also fill out a form while they observe. And this form might include like school spirit, school function, interactions between student teachers, anything along the lines of that, so that we can bring back that data and analyze it to make Pottsgrove better. Along with this, art students had an exhibit at Monco. They got to showcase their art at the 4th annual Tri-County High School Art Show hosted by Monco, and there were many Pottsgrove students involved, and their art was displayed for a whole week. Along with this, for a quiz bowl directed by Mr. Chris, they won the league title with a total of 12 wins. Along with this, you guys were probably involved with this also, the athletes participated in Read Across America. This was a huge thing that was going on in our elementary schools, which Mason will go into more detail about, but many of our high school athletes got to read to the little kids and help out with this event, including like our football players. And I also want to say congratulations to Ryan Finn, who took 3rd at regionals for wrestling and finished his career with a total of 104 wins. There were also many winners at district swim meet, but wanted to highlight Mikey Pryor and Patrick Agnew, who won 1st place in their events. And then also want to say congratulations to Emma Burrs, Joe Kelly, and Diane Diablo, who made it to PMEA State Choir. In regards to the middle school, I urge you all to see Shrek the Musical. It's this weekend. I'm going tomorrow. I'm really excited. Along with this, Mason and I are planning a visit to the middle school to do a student forum like we do at the high school and talk to a couple of kids and see like what are some positives, what are some negatives, how can we really improve their school and also our school district. Thank you.
Okay, so just to start with the middle school, they completed their MAP testing in ELA and math, and teachers are now working with instructional coaches and their grade level teams to analyze the results and make decisions about their upcoming instruction. Now, this was something that Mr. Rabinowitz had mentioned at the last meeting. The 6th grade ELA teachers and students had a successful visit to the Living Wax Museum that served as a celebration activity for their study of biography. I can just speak to, going to different, I went to a wax museum in Gettysburg. It was for the different presidents, and it's just such a, it was many years ago, but it was such a cool thing to just, see different stuff in history and see how it could really come alive for kids who don't really know that much about it. Next part is that Lower Pottsgrove, they had the Read Across America Spirit Week, and high school students visited. So on Monday, they had their pajama day, and Thursday, these are just some of the highlights that they had. They celebrated Dr. Seuss's 113th birthday, where they could dress up as any book character. Then high school football players came to read to our students, as well as Pottsgrove staff members and community members who volunteered and donations to the mainline animal rescue were made. To Rocks, they began the new MAP testing in the 2nd grade. They celebrated the Read Across America week as well with several literacy activities. As many local community members and board directors were guest readers. The children also enjoyed their visit from the Cat in the Hat and the high school baseball team. They raised a record of $7,000 for the Jump Rope for Heart during the month of February also.
Lastly, I just want to note that I'm trying to reach out to more students and have a greater social media presence. So I'm going to do a shameless plug and say that everyone should follow me on Twitter at PGSD Student Rep. So then hopefully they can increase communication and kind of allow for better communication in regards to what goes on in our school. So thank you. And do you have any questions?
Just a comment. He's not here, but Mr. Lapik's son, Simon, was one of the freshman members of the Quiz Bowl team who helped win the competition. So kudos to him. My son was also on the team, but sadly he missed most of the competitions due to illness. So less deserving of kudos, but Simon really stepped up, and it's nice to see the next generation moving up, especially when they're children of people sitting here. So, do we recognize the Quiz Bowl like we do other athletic events?
We have a couple different things coming up at our next meeting. Yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Moving on to personnel.
Make a motion to approve all personnel items as presented.
Can we pull out 10-1?
Took the grape at the wrong time. Usually, Al, it's me saying that and you saying this. Motion to approve all personnel items 10-2 to 10-10.
Okay, motion and a second to combine 10-2 through 10-10. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 10, oh, right, 10-10 is just, sorry. let's
10-2
scroll
to
down.
10-9. It's for the record. Okay. Our action item 10.1 gives me a great privilege to make this recommendation to approve this administrative appointment, Dr. Dave Ramage, as submitted.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we want to, anybody have a comment or?
My apologies, I would have pulled that one out. I didn't realize. Lumping that together.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations, Dr. Ramage.
I would just like to say a few things about Dr. Ramage. I really feel that it's a great opportunity for us with Dr. Ramage at the helm. I know he has to finish out some things at the middle school in the next couple months, but I know he's going to be spending some time with us at different levels regarding integration of technology in our classrooms. And I think maybe not a lot of you know this, but I mean, Dr. Ramage has his PhD in leadership development and learning and with technology. So I think that's right up our alley as far as something we really need in our focus, as well as a master's degree in computers and education as well. With that being said, the educational component, I think it's important that we position ourselves for the future, that we have our curriculum pieces, and now we tie our technology pieces and that integration along with our network all together. So as we make decisions, this group I look at will move in unison together. So if we have an integration issue or something to think about of how we're going to engage in the classroom, then our curriculum people will be alongside. And then, of course, our network side of this, do we have the capabilities to support the classroom and support the curriculum? So I think this was a piece that was missing, and I look forward to working with Dr. Ramage in solidifying this piece with our commitment to technology. I think it's very, very important that we have solid leadership in this spot. So, Dave, welcome aboard, and thanks again.
Can I just add a comment? It was my intention before realizing we were doing this promotion tonight to give a shout out to Dr. Ramage and his assistant principal, Chris. Conferences, I ran into them and they were just coming back from being out at Rolling Hills doing a community outreach. And I just thought that was great. I think the more we can do that, the better. They went out there, they brought some goodies for the families, and just trying to be there, for families that can't come in necessarily as often as they'd like, just reaching out and going out and saying, hey, here we are, what can we do to help? I thought that was great, so thank you.
Okay. Moving on to action items regarding the business department. I'd like to make a recommendation to approval of the confidential settlement agreement and release of one student action. Enjoy. Thank you.
Second. So we have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions or comments? Mr. Joe?
School district, if any, for settling?
I forget the exact numbers.
Oh, that's loud.
It's regarding one of our students of need, so,
I understand.
yeah,
The question was, is there any cost to the school district to,
yes.
and the cost is,
I don't have that in front of me at this time. I can get that for you. Yeah.
I think that's public information, isn't it, Counselor?
I answer the board, not the public.
I
Sorry,
beg your
Frank.
pardon. Thank you, sir, I do love it.
Any
Okay.
other questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Action item number 12, conference attendance, 12.1.
I'll motion to combine 12-1 to 12-3.
Can you pull 12-1 out just for real quick?
Yeah.
Sure, we'll just do all three then. Okay, so let's go 12, let's do 12-1. Well, can I have okay, so we have a motion and a second just for 12-1. Go ahead, Al.
Just a quick question is, Dr. Sher, could you explain this one just a little bit? And obviously, I understand the grant is paying for this. Do we have, I'm trying to word this without saying, 'cause I'm
These people, this
want-
this was a group of people that committed to go. We didn't have anybody else that made the commitment, and these particular members of the Health and Wellness Committee agreed to go when no one else would.
I mean, to word it this way, is there a better way to spend this $2,700?
It comes from our grant.
And that was the point I was going to make, if I can just add. Unless I hear something compelling, I'll be voting no. I realize it's grant funds, but when I look at the conference and what's being gained out of it, I do believe we could use that $2,700 in other ways that's more appropriate to health and wellness.
I'm going to, Ms. Pacito, would you come up and comment on that? I think there's some rules and regulations regarding this particular grant and how we spend their money. So Ms. Pacito will help us with that.
Is this on? Okay, great. We submitted our grant for this school year last March. If you recall, the grant was approved for us in April, and we had to itemize all of the ways that we were going to spend the money to help students. So the Pottstown Area Health and Wellness Committee, they reviewed our proposal line item by line item. So we need to spend the money in the way that we said we intended to, which is how the money was allocated. We sent a group of individuals last year to this conference. They raved about it. They turned around the program with their students in their classrooms and in social skills groups. We intended to send another group of individuals this year. We had, I think, the timing of the conference posed some challenges for folks to go. So our district level team stepped up and said, we'll go, we'll turn it around, and we'll impact students positively. So this is how we had allocated the money from the grant.
So I just want to be clear, we have to spend the money for this particular conference because we already committed to doing so,
We
correct?
committed to doing so, correct?
Thank you.
Yes.
Anyone else? Okay, so all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And I'll motion that we combine 12-2 and 12-3. Motion and a second. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Mrs. Graham?
Thank you for this opportunity. I like to have this on a monthly basis. Just going to bring you an up to date on some of the good things that are happening down at the Western Center. Our applications were due yesterday, and currently we have 297 new applications for the school year 2017 and 18. We have 36 applications for the new sports medicine that's going to open, and we have about 150 students attending, and we have to figure out a way to bring more freshmen over, because this year they were selected, and before we used to send all the classes, so some of the numbers for Pottsgrove are really stagnated. So we'll work on that for next year. Skills USA, which is the Skills USA is an ensure America has skilled workforce, both local and at state levels. We had 25 students recently compete in District 2 Skills USA. 5 students have qualified to compete in State Skills USA in Hershey, April 19th through the 21st, so we really want to wish them luck. This is a big deal for the kids. HOSA, and that's why I'm going to tell you what they are now, because we know the terms, but I'm sure you guys are not really familiar with all this. But HOSA is an international student organization for career opportunity in healthcare industry. We had 6 students placed at the HOSA state competition, and they now qualify for national HOSA competition in Florida this June. So we're telling them to bring home the gold. I'd like to congratulate Alexi Neifer. Alexi is a sophomore and a commercial arts student. She entered the Houston School of Art contest and won first place for her VIP contest ticket design. Alexi won $500 worth of art supplies. We recognized her, we saw a little presentation, and I would like to have her here. But this is actually, I'm going to pass this around, but this is actually what she designed, this ticket. And it's really, really cool what she did. So just like to shine some of our Pottsgrove students. So congratulations to her. NOCTI are basically assessments or standardized testings for career technology programs. So we're going to begin testing our level 2 and 3 students. Written exams are March 28th through April 12th, and performance exams are performance exams on April 26th. So these performance exams will help the students get their certifications that they need. Cosmetology instructors will run a summer salon program, which will be open to the public. This will enable some of our students to achieve up to 44 hours towards their certifications. I just encourage everybody to check out the dates and make an appointment. But it's really good to give back and help these kids receive their certifications. There are 8 summer camp offerings. Actually, there's 7 camp offerings for 5th to 8th grade students this summer. We have programs such as camp offerings as Artist Alive, CPR and Basic First Aid, Beauty School Boot Camp, Commercial Art, Junior Cadet Program, Rev Up Your Engines, and Sports Performance Camp. The culinary camp is full. So that's good, it's full. So I do have flyers here that if anybody be interested in, but these are all of the different camps. But again, culinary arts is full. Oh, and then of course there's always information on westerncenter.org, or they do have a Facebook page. This year we are pleased to announce that the Western Center is proud to announce that we will be hosting the State Professional Learning Community, the PLC, on April 21st, which is an all-day event showcasing our sports medicine program, and PDE will be attending. Our senior awards will be held at the Pottsgrove Middle School again on May 24th at 7 p.m. And 2 other things came up in conversation and discussion. Capital Reserve for the Western Center. Discussion was brought up that we're going to look into next year's budget, 2017-18, and we're going to, with this 3 sending schools, which would mean all of our boards would have to vote on it, which would mean we would have to bring it home here for voting. But we have no capital reserve over there at all, and any funds we had left over, we sent back to the sending schools. But the building was renovated in 2009, and it's soon reaching its 10-year mark. So either we start a reserve, and we can all figure out how we can do it, or something goes wrong, we're all going to come back to our sending school and say, the chiller went, or, you know, whatever. So we're starting the conversation, and we're going to get the list, but it's something to start talking about and thinking about. Okay, and then one thing that I just wanted to hit out to the public, there seems to be a stigma that has really been bothering me with our students over there. The school is a career and technology center. It's not a VOTech. Okay, we're trying to get these students, all these students over there, for a career path. You know, when I first got on the board, it was like, what is your mission? And my mission has always been, whatever student enters our school, you want them to have confidence and feel good and believe in themselves by the time they graduate. We offer so many different opportunities. And some of the kids were telling me, like, yeah, we're just the VOTech students. So now I'm trying to challenge everybody, and we're going to call them, there are career students. You know, there are Western Center. But the VOTech is a degrading word, is basically what they're telling me. So I told them that I would, you know, bring that up. And for instance, I met with Dr. Shirk the other day, and on Power School, when the parent can see the student's picture and classes they take, we have listed in their VOTech. So that's also going to be changed. So we're either going to put the Western Center, or what I would like to have is their career path put on there. So, and with that said, one of the things we say at the Western Center is we're moving and we're shaking. We're moving and we're shaking. So a lot's happening down there. So thank you for the opportunity, and I'll do this monthly.
I have a question.
Sure.
Regarding the capital reserve, I recall speaking with Mrs. Viola about this last year, and I just want to make sure that I'm clear on a couple of things. First, currently, how are capital funds or capital needs at the Western Center paid for?
I'm sorry, there was a compromise reached in the last capital, but putting that aside, the Articles of Agreement say that capital is funded based on your assessment, the district's assessment. So, you know, just to be silly about numbers, if we have $100 in assessed value here, and they have $200 at Springford and $100 at Upper Perk, Springford pays 50%, you pay a quarter. And there's a difference because the operating, which is the annual fee, is a 5-year full-time enrollment formula. So capital is paid for based on assessment under the Articles of Agreement, operating funds, and so if you do this, you'll have to be careful, in my view, to separate out. The other thing, just to bring you up to date, and it may or may not influence you one way or the other, I had answered this at the Career and Technical Center meeting, for a capital reserve, and I use the word VOTech because that's what the code uses. I don't mean to disparage anybody. In order to do that, it's a special section, not unlike the school code, that requires any money be paid out within 5 years. So if you were to put $10 away today in a capital reserve down at the Western Center, you would have to spend that $10 within 5 years.
All right, Mark, I want to clarify what you just said in plain English here. If we don't establish a capital reserve and there are capital needs at the Western Center, the costs will be allocated based on assessment.
Yes.
And because costs are based on assessment, a larger school district like Springford with a higher level of assessment is likely to have to pay more, comparatively speaking, than Pottsgrove.
Well, clearly, I mean, we're all adults here, and this was the knock-down, drag-out fight when we did the building. Has it been 10 years, Patty? Scares me how time goes by. But we did that 10 years ago. It took several years to get there because Springford does pay a significantly higher amount than they do on the operating, because they have more students, I think, than anybody else, but it's not as disparate as the assessment. So-
However, if we establish a capital fund, then we'll be sharing those costs equally.
I don't know, and I don't mean to be flip, I mean, because you budget every year, that's done on an FTE operating basis, and I don't know, the discussion hasn't gone that far, but if you want to be a purist and do it the way the articles say it, that capital reserve budget amount will change for every district, not based on FTEs, but you'd have to base it on assessment.
Well, based on that, I don't see why we would agree to establish a capital fund. It's not in our interest in Pottsgrove to end up paying more than we currently would pay under the current system. If somebody can explain to me why that's not the case, then I would reconsider my point of view.
I think we have to wait and see what we come up with first and what they want me to bring back. But if I'm just telling you this conversation and, I'm just throwing it out there so it doesn't hit you all at once. But, it's coming up to 10 years this school, so we'll just have to keep that in mind.
The question I would have would be, if we did come up with this, and of course this is in the future, right? Would this come out of our capital or would this come out of our budget?
Well, that would be your decision how you send the money down there. What'll happen is it will, and you'll get this like in a month, because the JOC is going to act on their budget next month. And it'll come back here and it'll require 2 out of 3 school districts to approve. So if they present a budget next year that has in there $100,000 for capital reserve, it'll be up to Dave how he funds that portion of the budget. I guess he could take it out of capital reserve. I haven't thought that far ahead.
Either we're taking it from Jeff and the facilities, or we're taking it from the budget, which of course we have a deficit at this present time. So we're between a rock and a hard place to give.
I think the thinking was, and not in any great detail, but the thinking was that we have a significant number of pieces of equipment down there that if they go down, would have to be replaced right away at a significant cost, each individual thing. Think of individual chillers or a chiller of the building or something like that. And we have no capital reserve. So if it goes down, it's got to be replaced, and the district gets an unexpected bill. To buffer that, not to eliminate it, but to buffer that, we wanted to have something down there that was, we would all pay in individually. Now, think of it almost like insurance. We know the equipment's going to wear out. We know it's going to have to be replaced. We don't know which one, and we don't know when. So the idea was, we know in the next 5 years there's going to be a major piece of equipment that needs replaced. Which one it is, we don't know. So that's why the thinking was, we're not talking about a huge amount. We're not talking about the kinds of percentages that we deal with here with our capital reserve. It was more an idea of, let's minimize shock to the system, especially if we have something unfortunate, we have 2 or 3 things that come up, a building piece or a equipment piece or something like that. And again, this is not, I don't think we're talking about doing anything this year with the reserves, and give us time to think about it and talk about it and hash out the details, because as you said, there's the overlapping and competing interests in terms of shares of payment and how it all works. But again, like I did with facilities committee, that's a big thing for me, is that we've got a plan for this stuff. We've got a plan for it, just like we do with a lot of the other things. So that was the concept.
As long as the distribution of costs is the same as it currently would be, then I wouldn't see any. I wouldn't have an objection. But the minute we end up paying more than we currently do, then that's where I'll be at least one of the objectors. I imagine I won't be the only one in that scenario.
Moving on to committee items.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to combine 14.1 through 14.3.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to combine 14.1 through 14.3, which is to accept the minutes for 2 ops committee meetings and a curriculum and technology and student affairs committee meeting. Any questions?
So they've all been reported out, then we're saying? Okay.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Minutes accepted. For the policy committee meeting on 2/28, just a quick report out on that. We looked at 3 policies. Again, we reviewed the use of facilities, policy number 707. So the goal now will be to have this policy come in front of the board for approval very shortly, so that we can put it in place for the beginning of the next school year. I'd say the main things we looked at again were the classes for groups using the facility and how we class those groups for prioritization and for rental fees. Additionally, one of the things that we did agree on was that we would continue to have the high school stadium not appear as a facility for rent on the reg. So it will remain as part of the policy that facility is not available for rent if the board so chooses to rent it out or loan it out. It will have to be a board decision. It won't follow the normal use of facilities policy. So again, we're going to have a goal to be in final review at the March 28th meeting for that policy. The 2 other policies we reviewed again were the 251 for homeless students and 255 for educational stability for children in foster care. And what we had asked was for the administration to go back and refine the definition for delegation of responsibility. So every policy's got this section for delegation of responsibility, laying out who's responsible for carrying out the policy. And we thought that needed more definition. So that will be refined and hopefully presented for final review and 30 days of public review at the March 28th meeting again. Those were the 3. If anybody has questions, maybe I can answer them. Okay? That's the end of the report. Thank you. Moving on to new business now. Sure, go ahead, Bill.
If I may, I just wanted to do a couple of promos, obviously, for our STEAM Expo. This will take place next Thursday, March 23rd. This is our Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Mathematics Expo, if you will. So we're looking forward to having that even bigger and better this year for 2017. So we invite all of you to attend. And also, as was mentioned earlier tonight about Shrek, obviously tonight is the opening night with 2 more nights to follow, Friday and Saturday night at 7 p.m. General admission is $8. So I just wanted to welcome everybody to those particular events, and it should be something to be proud of here in the district.
Can I just add something here? I was just wondering, is the Western Center going to be here for next Thursday? Were they invited to come to the STEM presentation? Do you know if they're going to be here? Because that might be a good time I could.
No, I don't know that.
Okay.
I'll check.
If you could find out.
Sure.
And then the only other suggestion I remember we used to do years ago is the plays. I would love if they could do a matinee. Like for Saturday, we used to bring the senior citizens in, and and the younger kids could do it because staying up till 11 o'clock is just a lot. But they used to do matinees, and it was just so nice. But the kids really do a good job on these, so I would just like to throw that out if it's possible.
Patty, just an FYI, I did try to have a matinee at the middle school a couple years, 4 or 5 years ago, and I was slapped down, so.
Do we know why? I'm just curious. Do you remember why it was an issue? Why it was stopped or not allowed to continue?
It would have been a Sunday matinee, and I was told that because it was a Sunday and because it was too much on the kids.
Well, they used to do it on Sundays, but I used to think that was because they did it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday was like, that was a lot for the kids. But I just think even if it was a Saturday, you did a matinee, you could get the senior citizens here from the community, get them out and see the kids. And I would love to take my grandkids, but I'm telling you, they can't stay up till 11 o'clock. They're in bed by 7:30.
I 100% agree with you. And especially at the middle school, when they're doing very kid-friendly shows, it's a really late night. So I would be all for it. I think it would be fantastic. I know Pottstown did Sunday matinee, yeah, it was Sunday. They had to postpone the start of the show for like 25 minutes because they had so many people lined up at the door. And it was great. It was great to see.
Yeah, as long as it's in the early afternoon, it wouldn't interfere with you know, whatever students' church activities. Typically, those are in the morning, right? So, I mean, right? I'd like to see that too.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, moving forward, it's brought to our attention, so we can talk to the principals and the directors, you know, about getting this, you know, future. Whether it's the 3 shows or 4 shows staggered, whether it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon, or whether it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday afternoon, however, whatever's best. So we can definitely bring that up to the directors.
I have some new business real quick. Okay. So I have this situation at school, and I just wanted to bring it up. So I'm in this club. We meet every Pride period, and it's about 10 of us. So basically what this trip is it's a youth and government trip. We should go to Harrisburg every year in April. And then what we basically do there is we just, like, it's kind of like an educational learning thing about history, because you get to be a politician pretty much the entire weekend, which for someone like me, that's just amazing. It's through the YMCA. But this year, we had submitted the field trip forms, and they were denied because I think it was a time thing. I think that we submitted them about 3.5 months before the trip. We were told, or someone had told us, that it was because 6 months was the new, like, deadline. So just in all, because I guess I'm kind of upset about it, because like this whole club, the whole purpose of it leading up is to get to this one event for 4 days. And it would be really, like, a lot of the kids in the group are disappointed. I am as well. I was just wondering, pretty much what's the rationale behind, if 6 months is the number, why is that the number? And is 4 or even 3 months not enough notice? And that can be answered like some other time too, you know, like answer to previous inquiry, something like that. Or, you know, if someone wants to talk to me later about it, that's fine.
Mason, did you talk to Dr. Ziegler about, our policies, our field trip policies? Did you have a chance to sit down with him, and is he aware of your concern?
No, I haven't sat down with him, but I should probably do that.
How about Mr. Dorenzo?
No, I did not talk to him. There we go. Yeah, I had talked to our club advisor, and that was basically what he had said, that's basically what I, not gathered, but that's what they said was pretty much, like, the reasoning for it. I think it was, the exact words was like that it wasn't going to be sponsored by the board. That's what.
And this was a 4-day overnight trip?
Yeah.
Obviously male and female students? Okay. And I don't have those answers because it's the first time I've heard them. But obviously, you know, for us, you know, safety, security, logistics, all that's important, you know, to us. So I would just need to go back with Mr. Dorenzo and Dr. Ziegler and try to get some timelines in place so that I can get a better picture of why it didn't get approved. So.
The only thing that comes to my mind about that, and I don't have any information about this either, so is if we have a 6-month requirement and a club effectively starts in August or September during Pride period, then are we making it so that some of our clubs can't really have trips because of the amount of time it takes to plan it, first of all, and then secondly, you know, go on the trip during the school year, you know, and then at the end of the year, it's you know, some club members may graduate. It's a different club every year, right? So in a sense, what I'm hearing is like you almost have to plan it a year in advance in order to be able to go. So maybe I'm misunderstanding how things work logistically. I admit to ignorance about it. I'm just asking the question, you know, is that really fair to them to make it a 6-month requirement when it's a club trip? I mean, it's a little bit different than when it's a programmatic thing every year. So anyway.
Any more new business? Okay, we're going to move into answers to previous inquiries.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Mr. Parker had requested during our February 14th meeting regarding the costs associated with sound systems during plays and graduations. And I think, you know, Mr. Nestor produced a spreadsheet that really sort of show that the times and the items that we pay for because we don't have the extra supplemental systems in place for those particular events. I know that's it's pretty much in a nutshell. I know we did supply the spreadsheet to you as well for that answers. And maybe Mr. Nestor, is there anything that you can add? I mean,
No, as indicated on this on the spreadsheet, the primary uses are to supplement for graduation and for musicals. In this case, there was a request to supplement for a choral concert.
I guess my question was, would it pay for itself to purchase a mobile sound system instead of renting however many times a year?
I would have to price it out. I'm assuming it's a fairly expensive unit, but I can.
And I'm just putting it out there if it save money, you know. I mean, it might be easier for staff too if we have it on site, but.
Dave, is there any way we could use Market Street money for a purchase like this?
The board has discretion on the use of the
Oh,
Market Street
okay.
money.
So that could be an option.
But this is 1 year?
No. This is historically from
Okay.
2008 to now. The lines delineate
Okay, I see.
the amounts expended by year.
and I just may add, I know that at the different school districts that I've worked with and for, with graduation, I mean, in large stadiums, big events, extra mics, wireless mic systems for the plays. Normally, we wouldn't use them that much, you know, but we would use them for those particular events. So, not that we couldn't go out and do that, but it's pretty much standard practice. The different organizations I've been part of to supplement the systems.
Whatever's most efficient is fine.
And then I was asked, we were asked previously about our high school's TV studio and recording of our workshop events and our committee events. Had an opportunity to meet with Mr. Regensburg and really sit down with him. It's really a new program with our school. We're just really getting used to the equipment and really setting things up within the high school right now. And he really felt at this point we would need, you know, he needs more than just the first 10 months. I mean, he needs more time to put systems in place, if you will, iron out some details. He even felt there could be a need for additional equipment if we're going to take the studio on the road as far as that goes. So we just felt that we wanted him, after speaking with him, that he can get this first year under his belt, get next year kicked off, and then maybe we go back and revisit future, because there might be some future needs to make that accommodation if that's something that the board wants to do in the future. So we can look for direction maybe next year, bring it back up and see if it's something that you want us to continue to look at.
Do we have any additional public comment on issues that came up during the course of this meeting off agenda? Okay, well, with that then, we will adjourn. Thank you.